Okay, yeah, good afternoon. Let us start. Okay, so last class we are discussing about the Pareto optimal solution, right? And also we have discussed different types of objective vectors. Like we have discussed what is an ideal objective vector, and and we have discussed uh, utopian objective. We have discussed what is meant by an ideal objective vector, and using an ideal objective vector, how can we identify the utopian objective uh, vector. Okay. Also we have discussed about non-linear objective vector, right? Okay. We have also discussed the concept of Pareto optimal solution, and also we have discussed what is meant by Pareto optimal front. Okay, so the set of all possible Pareto optimal solution, whatever that line will be called as Pareto optimal front. So let us continue. So now we'll be moving on to uh, it's not a separate topic, but it's a separate subtopic. So basically we are discussing about MOOP, multi-objective optimization problem. How to solve an multi-objective optimization problem. Uh, so so this is another subtopic which is called as the concept of domination. First we'll start with this in today's lecture, the concept of domination. Okay. So basically here we are trying to understand like when we can say that one particular solution is dominating another solution. Right? So in genetic algorithm we have multiple solutions. So can you say that one solution is dominating another solution? So dominating means we are saying that the one solution is better than another solution in all aspects. If a solution is better than some other solution in all aspects, then we can say that this solution is dominating that solution. So let us discuss that concept. Suppose assume that we have these many objective functions, f1, f2, f3 up to fn. All these are objective functions, and say that xi and xj are solutions. Xi is one solution and xj is another solution. Okay. Then the operator, this particular operator between two solutions xi and xj, that is xi, this operator xj is used to represent that xi is better than xj on a particular objective function. Okay. So which means that when we write something like this, xi xj, it means that xi is better than xj on a particular objective function. Okay. So alternatively, if you write this way, so when you write this triangle like this, then it means that xi is better than xj. If you write like this, then it means that xi is worse than xj. That is, xi is not, or you cannot say it's not. Then it means that xi is worse than xj, which means that xj is better than xi. Okay. So if an objective function, now what is this? What is this symbol? So this symbol, it may be either minimization or maximization. This symbol, it can be either minimization or maximization. That depends. Okay, it is not that it should be always minimization or maximization. That depends on the problem. If the objective is to minimize, then if xi can provide a minimum solution than xj, then we can say that xi is better than xj. If the objective is to maximize, then if xi can provide a higher value than xj, then you can say that xi is better than xj, right? Okay. So if you put the symbol this way, it means that xi is better than xj. If you put the symbol this way, it means that xi is worse than xj. So this better than this is otherwise called as dominating. Okay, then you can say that xi is dominating xj. If an objective function is to be minimized, the operator, this particular operator would mean less than, okay, because this should be less than this, then only we can say that this is better than this. But if the objective function is to maximize, then the operator, this particular operator would mean that it's a greater than operator. It means that xi is better than xj. Okay, I guess you are following. So for example, here it is a more formal definition. A solution xi is said to dominate another solution xj if it satisfies the following two conditions. The solution xi, we can say that the solution xi dominates another solution xj if it satisfies the following two conditions. There are two conditions, condition 1 and condition 2. Condition 1, what it says in the sense, the solution xi is no worse than xj. So it is not worse, it is no worse than xj. Okay, the solution xi is no worse than the solution xj in all objective, not only one objective. Okay, right? So it's the let me say one thing, let me clarify one thing. Here only we are defining domination. There actually this is not the domination definition. Here what we defined is when we say that one solution is better than another solution. Okay, that's what only we defined here. So we say that xi is better than xj. If xi is better than xj for any one objective function, then that is represented like this. If xi is worse than xj in any objective function, then that is represented like this. Okay, so this is connected with only any one objective function. So here we use the term better than. But the definition of domination, what it says in the sense, the solution xi is no worse than xj for all objective functions. That is f of xi no worse. Worse means this symbol. Okay, that is f of xi is not worse than f of xj for all objective function. That is for so this we can call it as fk. Okay, there are different objective functions. We have many objective functions. So k is equal to 1 to m if you have m functions. So this is the first condition. So the first condition says that xi should not be worse than any of the, what do you call it? It is not worse than any of the objectives of it is not worse than xj for all objective functions. Okay, and the second condition, what it says in the sense, the solution xi is strictly better than xj in at least one objective function. Okay, the solution xi is strictly better than xj in at least one objective function. Okay, so at least out of all these functions, at least for one of the function, the solution xi should be better than xj. Okay, right? So in that case, where the different objective functions are 1 to m. Okay, so in that case, then we can say that xi dominates xj. Okay. So here k dash represents one objective function. For a particular objective function k dash, at least there should be one objective function k dash for which xi is giving better than, xi is performing better than xj. Okay, so out of all the objective functions, then you can say that xi dominates xj. Okay. So I'll repeat it. What's the difference between better than and domination? Okay. So say we have many objective functions. Say we are discussing about MOOPs, that is multi-objective optimization problem. So obviously we have many objective functions. So we have many objective functions like f1, f2, f3 up to fm. Now when you can say that one solution is better than another solution, so if you have a solution xi and xj, you can say that xi is better than xj. That is, if xi performs better than xj, then you can say that xi is better than xj for any one objective function. At least for if for any objective function, if for any objective function k, if xi is producing better result than xj, then you can say that xi is better than xj. Okay. Now this better than means it is what? This better than can be either, in case of minimization problem, this better than represents less than. In case of maximization problem, this better than represents greater than. Okay. Right. Now when you say that xi is worse than xj, so for any particular objective function, if xi is worse than xj, then that is represented using this symbol. If xi is not providing a better result than, that is xi is providing worst result than xj, then it is represented using this symbol. Okay. So right. So in that case, xi is providing a poor value when compared with xj for a particular objective function, the objective function k. So this is how this term better than is defined. Now what is the concept of domination? The concept of domination says that we can say that xi dominates xj if two conditions are satisfied. So what we can say that xi dominates xj when it satisfies two conditions. There are two conditions. What are the two conditions? The first condition says that xi should not be worse than xj for all objectives. Okay, that is, there should not be any objective function for which xi is worse than xj. Okay, that is, xi is no worse than xj for all objectives. Okay, so that how will you represent? That is, fk of xi is not worse than fk of xj for k is equal to all objective function. Okay, and at least there should be one objective function. The second condition is at least there should be one objective function, say k dash, for which xi is better than xj. So in that case you can say that xi dominates xj. So this is how the concept of domination is defined. Okay. So could someone define? First, could you define what is meant by when you can say that xi is better than xj? No, come again, Akila. I missed out something. Hmm. Hmm. No, better than xj for how many objective function? We have many objective function. At least for one, yeah, for any one objective function, if xi is performs better than xj, then we say that xi is better than xj, right? Okay, what is meant by when you say that xi is worse than xj? When you say that xi is worse than xj, yeah, if xj is better than xi, then we say that xi is worse than xj for a given objective function. Okay. So here better means what? Better means what? Better than means, what do we mean? When we say better than, yeah, Yeah, whether it is greater than or less than. No, no, that's what I'm asking. So it is not, it is neither greater than nor less than. That depends on the problem. If the problem is to minimize, okay, if the objective is to minimize, then when will you say that xi is better than xj? No, no, when the problem is to minimize, then when will you say that xi is better than xj? When xi is less than or greater than? Are you following the question? Less than. Our objective is to minimize. Okay. So the more you minimize, that is what better, right? When the objective is to maximize, then when will you say that xi is better than xj? Yes. Okay. When the problem is to minimize, if the objective is to minimize, then when will you say that xi is worse than xj? Is it clear? When the objective is to minimize, assume that the objective is to minimize, then when will you say that xi is worse than xj? So your objective is to minimize. When xj is lesser, that is in terms of xi. Could you tell in terms of xi? When the objective is to minimize, when will you say that xi is worse than xj? Xj is less than xi. That is correct, Akila. What does it mean? That means other way. That means xi is greater than xj, right? So when the objective is to maximize, see when the when the objective is to minimize, I asked when the objective is to minimize, when will you say that xi is worse than xj? So our objective is to minimize. So if xi is greater than xj, then we say that xi is actually worse than j. Are you getting? Say when the objective is to maximize, our objective is to maximize. If xi is greater than xj, that is xi is better than xj, right? My question is when the objective is to maximize, when will you say that xi is worse than xj? Objective is to maximize. Under which hmm, less than yeah, when xi is less than xj, we say that xi is worse than xj. Okay. So this symbol is for to mention that xi is worse than xj. This symbol is to mention xi is better than xj. Okay. Now with this knowledge of better than and worse than, how do you define the domination? What is meant by domination? Hmm. Oh, yeah, xi is no worse than xj in all objective. What does it mean? Why we are saying no worse than xj? What does it mean? No worse than, does it means that xi is better than xj in all objective? Is it equal? Xj is better than xi? No, you cannot say that way also. See, the solution xi is no worse than xj in all objectives. Does it mean that xj is better than xi in all objectives or in some objectives? No. Or does it mean that xi is better than xj in all objectives? Then what exactly no worse than means what? It means what? it means say for example, eh, our objective is to minimize. Our objective is to minimize. Say x1 is equal to 2, x1, x2 is equal to 3, x3 is equal to 4. Okay. Say y1, this is say y, x and y we are comparing. Okay. Say y1 is equal to 2, y2 is equal to 4, y3 is equal to 5. Say this is one objective function. Okay, first objective function is giving this result, second objective function is giving this result. Okay, that is for first objective function, or not, or let us assume there are three objective functions. Okay, three objective functions. Say first objective function is giving this result for x1 and y1, x1 2, y1 2. Second objective function is giving this result, x2 3, y2 3. Third objective function is giving this result, x3 4, y3 4. Okay. Now if you see here, in case of first objective function, could you say that x2 is better than x1 is better than y1? Both are equal. So how can you say that x1 is not better than y1, and y1 is also not better than x1? So what we can say this condition, we can say that x1 is no worse than y1. So x1 is no worse than y1 means we only know that x1 is not worse than y1, which means that they both can be either equal or x1 is better than y1. Are you getting? Need not be. Otherwise, we would have used equal. See, x1 is no worse than xj means what I am here. Here only thing what we are saying is x1 is not better than x1 is not x1 is not worse than xj. Only that much I am telling. Are you getting? So what are the two possibilities are there? What are the two possibilities are there? Or exactly, that is what the meaning. Okay. So here only we are telling that x1 is not worse than xj. So one thing, it can be either both can be equal or x1 can be better than xj. Okay. Whereas in the second case, what is the thing? Objective is to object. Yeah, objective is to minimize. So here xi is better than x2 is better than y2. In the third case, x yeah, x3 is better than y3. Okay. So in this case, so let us call all these x as x as one variable. All these x y put together as y. Okay. So now can you say that x is dominating y as per this definition? As per this definition, can you say that x is dominating y? What is the domination definition? Two conditions. What are the two conditions? What are the two? What is the first condition? First condition says not equal. Does it mean for all objectives, right? So first objective, xi is no worse than xj, right? Second objective, xi is no worse than xj, right? Xi is better than y, x2 is better than y2 means it is not worse than, right? So in the third objective also x3 is better than y, so it means that it is not worse than y3, right? So the first condition is satisfied for all objective function, right? What is the second condition says? Better than xj for how many objective function? At least for one objective function. So out of these three objective function, you see, is there at least one objective function for which x2 is better than y2? How many objective functions are there? How many functions in which x2 is better than y2? Second function, third function, right? Two cases x2 is better than y2. In the first case, x1 is not better than y1, right? Okay. So is this two condition is satisfied here or not? So can we say that x is dominating y? So yeah, so x is dominating y. Okay. So this is what the definition says. Are you getting? So we have set of objective functions. Then when we have some set of solutions. Then when we can say that xi is dominating xj in the sense for all objective function xi should be no worse than xj, and at least there should be one objective function for which xi is better than xj. Okay. So let me make some changes here. Now say that this instead of this 3 I am making it as 5. Okay. Now could you say now what about this? Now can you say that x is dominating y? F3 satisfies condition 2, but what about condition 1? Condition 2 is fine. Is condition 1 is satisfied? What is condition 1? xj for all objectives. So so can you say that xi dominates y now? For first objective, is can you say that x1 is no worse than y1? For second objective, can you say x2 is no worse than y2? Objective is to objective is to minimize. Objective is to minimize. So who is minimum here? X2 or y2? So can you say that x2 is no worse than y2? No, actually x2 is worse than y2 because x2 is 5, y2 is 4. Are you getting? So the second condition, the first condition is actually not satisfied. The first condition is not satisfied for the function f2, but this should be satisfied for all the functions. So in this case, actually we cannot say that x dominates y. Are you following? Okay. So the two conditions should be satisfied. The first condition is xi should be no worse than xj for all objective function, and the second condition is xi should be strictly better than xj for at least one objective function. Say I am making y2 as 5. So I am making this also as 5. Then now can you say that x is better than y? I mean x dominates y. Now can we say that x dominates y or not? Yes. How? First condition, does it satisfy for everybody? So for f1, first condition is what? X1 is, yes, we can say that x1 is no worse than y1 because they are equal. Second case also you can say that x2 because they are equal. In the third case also you can say that x3 is no worse than y3 because x3 is less than y3. Okay. And second condition, what it says that at least for one objective function xi should be better than xj. So here for which objective function 3, x3 is better than y3. So you can say that x dominates y. Okay. Now say for example this y3 I am making 4. Now can you say that x dominates y? If I make x3 as 4, y3 as 4, now can you say that x dominates y? Answers. No, x does not dominate y. Why? Which condition fails? Which condition? Condition 2 fails. Condition 1 is true, right? Condition 1 is true because all are equal. So we can say that x1 is no worse than x2. I mean y1, x2 is no worse than y2, x3 is no worse than y3. But condition 2 says that there should be at least one objective function for which xi performs better than xj. But there is no such objective function. Are you getting? So this is how the domination is defined. So basically there are two cases. Case 1 says that xi should not be worse than xj for all objective function, and case 2 says that there should be at least one objective function for which xi performs better than xj. Then we can say that xi dominates xj. Okay, so here is an example for domination. Say for you, say these are two functions f1 f2. Both f1 and f2 we want to minimize. Okay, now you have to tell me which one can dominate others, something like that. Say let us give some numbers for our convenience. Say this is 0. Okay, say this is 2, 4 and 6 in this axis. This is 0, 2, so this is 4 and this is 6. Okay, so this point x1 represents what? 2, 4. Okay, this point x2 represents what? 6, 4. Yeah, the point x3 represents what? 4, 6. Okay. Okay, so it is minimization. We want to minimize, right? Okay, so can you say that x1 dominates x2? Objective is to minimize. So can you say that x1 dominates x2? See this alone. Does x1 is dominating x2 or not? Okay, how? Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah, they can be true. Okay, here you can see this f1. These 2 points are, when you compare these 2 points, 2 is less than 6. We want to minimize, which means what? X1 is better than. Yeah. When you say this case x1 is not worse than x2, right? So there are two conditions. What are the two conditions? First condition is for all objective function x1 should not be worse than x2. At least for one objective function x1 should be better than x2. So here these are the two. This is f1 and this is f2. You can take this way. Okay. So this point is f1. This f1 f2. Okay. So if you compare these two things, 2, 6, 2 is less than 6, which means that 2 is better than 6, or you can say that 2 is no worse than 6, and 4 is also no worse than 6. That is for condition 1. Coming to the second condition, actually this is better than this because our objective is to minimize. So you can say that x1 dominates x2. Okay. Consider x1 and x3. When you consider x1 and x3, can you say that x1 dominates x3? This is x1, this is x3. When you consider x1 and x3, can you say that x1 dominates x3? Yes. See, this is f1. Okay, with respect to f1, you see, what are the two conditions? First condition is what? Okay, so that is satisfied for both the cases. So 2 is no worse than 4. 4 is no worse than 6, right? Because we are Objective is to minimize. And what's the second condition? For at least one function. So here greater than means what? Objective is to minimize. So greater than means actually less than, right? I mean, it is not greater than, it should be better than. Okay. So is 2 is better than 4? Is 4 is better than 6? So it is enough to satisfy for one objective. For both the objective, it is satisfied. So can you say that x1 is dominating x3? So x1 is dominating x3, right? Okay. So this is also true. Okay. What about, can you say that x3 is dominating x1? x3 is 4, 6. x1 is 2, 4. Can you say that x3 is dominating x1? No. Why? Which objective function is not, I mean, which condition is not met? What is condition 1? xi should not be, should be no worse than j. Okay. Both the conditions were not satisfied, right? Condition 1 is also not satisfied, 2 is also. Okay, so in this case you cannot say that. So you cannot say that x3 is better than x1. That is wrong. x3 is not better than x1. Okay. What about x2 and x3? Can you say that x2 is better than, I mean, x2 dominates x3? Can you say x2 dominates x3? This is x2, 6, 4, 4, 6. Can you say x2 dominates x3? Six, 4. So first rule is the first rule. Condition 1 fails. Yes. What about condition 2? Condition 2, is there any at least one function which it says that x2 is better than x3? 6, 4. Which is better, x2 or x3? When you this and this, when you, pardon? So x2 is not better. In this case, 4, 6, which is better? Oh, here x2 is better. Okay. So condition 2 is somewhere it is matching, but condition 1 is not satisfied. Okay. So again, we cannot say that x1 is dominating, x2 is dominating x3. So that is false. x2 is not dominating x3. Okay. What about x3 and x2? So can you say that x3 is dominating x2 in the reverse way? Now write it this way. x3 is 4, 6. x2 is 6, 4. So x2 is not dominating x3. So what about this? Does x3 is dominating x2? This is x3. This is x2. Is it dominating? No. Now which condition fails? Condition 2. Condition 1 also fails. Yeah. So okay. So like this. So you may get this type of questions, right? Some points will be given. Okay. Even if these values are not given, you can assume these values, right? Or actually all these things are not required. Just from this graph itself you can see. See here, minimize means what? Here our objective is to minimize. Okay. So when you minimize f1, f1 is in x-axis, f2 is in y-axis. When you minimize x1, when you minimize f1, the point will move where? Towards. When you minimize f1, the point will move where? Towards left or right or up or down. This is f1, right? Answer. when you minimize the value of, when you decrease the value of f1, these points will tend to move towards which direction? Left or right? Minimize when you reduce this value. Left, it will come left. This is x-axis, right? This is 0, 1, 2, it is going like this. So when you decrease, it will move towards the left end, right? When you decrease f2, the point will move where? Towards, this is y, it will come down, right? Okay, yeah. So now you see, now if someone asks you like if someone asks you like x1, does x1 is dominating x3, means surely you can say that x1 is dominating x3. Why? Because dominating means what? X3 is, why we can say that x1 is dominating x3? Because two things are satisfied. X1 is to the left of x3. Are you getting? At the same time, x1 is to the down of x3. Am I clear? Because minimizing in f1 direction means, minimizing with respect to f1 means what? Moving towards left. Minimizing with respect to f2 means what? Coming down. So does x1 dominates x3? Yes, it dominates, because x1 is below x3 and also x1 is to the left of x3. Does it make sense or not what I am saying? Because what is the two condition? What's the first condition says? First condition is xi should be no worse than xj. Okay. And second condition is for all objective function. And second condition is xi should be better than xj for at least one objective function. Okay. So here we have only two objective function. First, and our objective is to minimize. So minimizing f1 means bringing the point towards left. Minimizing f2 means bringing the point down. Okay. So this is when you compare this point x1 with this point x3, it is down when compared with x3, and also it is to the left when compared to x3. So both the ways it is satisfying. So it is surely x1 is dominating x3. Okay, right? Okay. What about, see, if I ask, does x1 dominates x2? From this graph, how will you say? Both are lying in the same line. Both are, that is with respect to what? With respect to which function they are lying in the same line? With respect to f1 or with respect to f2? Is the question is clear? With respect to f1 they are lying in the same line, or with respect to f2 they are lying in the same line? No. See, for I mean, see, if you give some values for these two functions, okay, so let the two functions value will be f1 and f2. Okay, the first will be f1, second will be f2. So which will be same? Y-axis is same, right? For this point and this point, which value is same? This is same, right? So they are lying in the same line with respect to which one? f2. Are you getting? But f1 point, f1 this is x-axis. f1, what is this point? If this point is 2, then this point will be what? Will it be greater than 2 or less than 2 or equal to 2? Greater than 2. But what about this point for f2? Both the points will be equal. If this is 4, this also will be 4. Okay. So if this point is 2, 4, this point will be 4, 4. So with respect to, so that's what I am asking. With respect to f2, they are in the same line. But with respect to f1, they are in the different positions. Okay. Now just by seeing this point, how can you say whether x1 is better than x2? See the two conditions. What are the two conditions? First condition is x1 should be no worse than x2. Okay. So with respect to f1, can you say that I mean with respect to f1, can you say that x1 is no worse than x2? Yeah, yes. Okay. With respect to f2, can you say that x1 is no worse than x2? Yeah. And so condition 1 is satisfied. What about condition 2? Yeah, better than x2. So with respect to f1, can you say that x1 is better than x2? Yes, because it is minimization. So x1's value is less than x2. So x1 is better. Okay. But with respect to f2, we cannot say that x1 is better than x2. It's not better than x2. Okay. But still it is not worse. Are you getting? So both the conditions were satisfied. So we can say that x1 is dominating x2. Right? Okay. But is the reverse is true? Can you say that x2 is dominating x1? Does x2 is dominating x1? No. See, x1 is how will you say that x2 is dominating x1? What is the first condition? Great. Now, see, we are discussing only on minimization. Okay. Our objective is to what? Minimize f1 and also minimize f2. Okay. So we are saying x1 is dominating x2. So you cannot say x2 is dominating x1. Right? So first condition also will fail. The first condition is there. Then it should be x2 is no worse than x1. But actually x2 is worse than x1 with respect to f1. You getting? Okay. So just by seeing the point is just by seeing the graph also you can do it. But if you feel it is difficult, then you can give some numbers, some random numbers, some meaningful numbers, and then you can check. Okay. And the question always need not be both maximizing. It may be like some one maximize and one minimize. It may be otherwise also. Okay. Okay. So here is another example. You see here we want to minimize f1 and maximize f2. Okay. So we want to minimize f1 and maximize f2. So which means what? We want to bring the point, minimize f1 means bringing the point towards where? Towards left or right? Our objective is to bring the point towards left or right. F1 is x-axis, towards left. Left. Minimizing f1 means bringing the point towards left. That is our objective. Okay, that is the more the point towards left, it will have more it will have more rank, or it is better off. Okay. Maximizing f2 means what? Moving the no. See, f2 is it only Akila, only f1 is connected with moving left and right. F2 is connected with what? Moving. So maximizing f2 is what? Bringing the point towards up. Are you getting? Okay. So maximizing f2 means we want to move the point towards up. So it means that we want to move the point towards left, and also we want to move the point towards up. Okay. So the more the point towards left and the more the point towards up, you can say that that is better than something else. Okay. So with this knowledge, you tell me, can you say that x3 is dominating x2? See, it is very straight cut. You see, our objective is what? Move towards left and also move towards top. So compare x2 and x3. Is x3 is towards the left of x3? I mean, if is x3 is towards the left of x2? Yes or no? Is x3 is towards the top of x2? Is at the height level? Is x3 is higher at x2? Higher. So it means what? In both the way it is satisfying. So minimize f1. So with respect to f1, if you say x3 is better than x2, With respect to f2 also, if you see, maximize, we want to increase the height. So in that case also, x3 is better than x2. So can you say that x3 is dominating x2? Does x3 dominates x2? True or false? Hmm? Why this much? See, it's actually very easy thing, but I don't know why you're taking time. See this, whatever these things. See, it is basically what do you call it? Is basically something maths which you might have learned in school. So see, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Instead of that, here we are using f1 and f2. Okay, so f1 is some function on this line, f2 is some function on here. Okay, so x-axis means what? This. Y-axis is this. So minimizing this means what? Minimizing f1. Okay, minimizing f1 means we want to bring something towards left. Okay, the more it is minimized, the more it will come towards left. Maximizing y means what? You are moving towards top. Okay, so first let us clarify with these things. Say here I am putting f1 and f2. See, if I want to minimize both f1 and f2, what does it mean? See, there are four options we have. Move left, okay, move left and move down. Okay, move left and move down. This is one option. The second option is move left and move up. This is another option. Okay, go up. So this is for f1 and this is for f2. The third option is move right and move down. This is the third possibility. Okay, move right. That is, in x you are moving right, in y you are moving down. And the fourth option is move right and move up. Okay. So when the first option will happen, when you minimize what? Yeah, if you minimize both f1 and f2, it means the first thing will happen. That is, you want to move down the point, whatever the points are, nothing but solution. The solution will move towards left and also it will move towards down. So the more the solution, the solution which is more towards left and more towards down, that solution will be considered as better solution. Okay, if it is minimize f1 and minimize f2. What about this? Move towards, yeah, minimizing f1 and maximizing f2. So if the objective is to minimize f1 and maximize f2, then which solution you will say is a better solution? You have many solutions. So the plot contains many solutions. So which solution you will treat as better solution? The solution which is more towards left and more towards top. Okay. So probably this solution you will say is better because it is more towards left and also it is more on the top. And maximizing, I mean moving towards right and, yeah, maximizing f1 and minimizing f2. Okay. In that case, which solution you will say is a better solution? No, tell both the ways. It is not only one. Hmm. Downwards one. Okay, so this point you will say better. It should be towards the right and also it should be height wise. It should be as low as possible. Okay. What about this? Move towards right and move towards maximizing f1 and maximizing f2. In that case, which you will say is the better one? Hmm. Yeah. So any one of these two, or if a point lies here, okay, then this is extreme right and okay. So so depending on this, you have to decide, right? So these are the four possible cases. So here, what is the case? Minimize f1 and maximize f2, which means which point you will say is a better point, or which solution is a better solution. Just to give a generic answer, I'm not asking out of these three. The solution should be more towards where? Hmm. Yeah, towards left and towards top, right? Okay. Now the question is, consider only these two solutions, x3 and x2. Okay, ignore this. Consider only these two. Can you say that x3 is dominating x2? Dominating, can you say, yeah, domination definition you know, right? So is x3 is better than x2? See, x3 is dominating x2, right? Why? Because here what we want to do, minimize f1. So with respect to f1, is x3 is better than x2? With respect to f2, is x3 is better than x2? So both conditions were satisfied, right? So obviously you can say what, x3 dominates x2. Are you getting? X3 dominating x2. Okay. So we can say that uh, x3 is dominating x2. Okay. Right. What about uh, what what about x1 and x2? Can you say x1 is dominating x2? Huh. Can you say x1 is dominating x2? These two things. How you are telling x1 is dominating? Minimizing f1. Yeah, it is in that case it is lower. Okay, in maximizing both of them lie in the same plane. So you can say that x1 is dominating x2. Okay, that is true. Because because you can with respect to f1, with respect to the function f1, you can say that x1 is better than x2, right? But with respect to function f2, you cannot say that x1 still x1 is no worse than x2, right? So the first condition is x1 is no worse than x2. That is satisfied for both. And the second condition is at least for one of the condition x1 should be better than x2. So that is satisfied, right? Yeah. So you can say that x1 is dominating x2. But can you say that x2 is dominating x1? No, x2 is not dominating x1. Okay. So here there are certain questions asked. Try to answer. It is not with respect to domination, but is x1 is less than or equal to x2? Yeah, x1 is less than or equal to x2. This is true. Is x2 is less than or equal to x1? No. But what about this F1 plane? Yeah. X1, what about x1 less than or equal to x3? Is it true? Yeah. In all aspect, it is lesser than x3, right? What about is x3 is lesser than x1? Lesser than or equal to x1? Is x2 is less than or equal to x3? No. Is x3 is less than or equal to x2? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So with this, you can also find out which one dominates others and which one is not dominating other, right? Okay. So the points to be noted is if either of the condition 1 or 2 is violated, then the solution xi does not dominate the solution xj. Okay. If xi dominates the solution xj, It also mathematically means this. If xi is dominating xj, which means that xi is less than or equal to xj. Okay. So here less than means in the context of minimization. Okay. If it is maximization, it may be greater than. The domination also alternatively can be stated in any one of the following ways. That is, uh, instead of saying that xi dominates xj, saying that xi dominates xj, we can also say that xj is dominated by xi. Both are same. Okay. Some disturbing sound is coming. Please keep your mics off and just keep it on when it is required. So instead of saying xi dominates xj, we can also say that xj is dominated by xi. Okay. Or you can also say that, xi is not dominated by xj. Okay. So xi dominates xj means what? It obviously means that xj is dominated by xi, and also it means that xi is not dominated by xj because xi is dominating. Okay. And also you can say that xi is no inferior to xj. So these are the other terms of calling out this. Okay. Xi dominates xj. So here is another example. So here we want to maximize f1 and minimize f2. Okay. So maximize f1 and minimize f2 means the point which solution you will treat as a better solution. It should be towards right and towards down. Okay. So such a solution will be called as a better solution. Okay. So compare towards right and towards down. Okay. So compare 4 and 5. When you compare 4 and 5, could you say that 5 is dominating 4? Why? Why? Previously, what you said, it should be towards right and towards down, right? So compare 4 and 5. Is 5 is to the right of 4 or not? Is 5 is down of 4 or not? So can you say 5 dominates 4? Yes or no? See, 5 is dominating 4. 5 is dominating 4 because here what is the, so 5 is dominating 4. Okay. How? So what about 5 and 1? Could you say 5 is dominating 1? No, no, F1 is maximize, F2 is minimize. Hmm. Why? See, pardon? See, but what is the domination condition? What's the first condition? Yeah, it is dominating. It is dominating. Because see, in this plane it is equal, right? Here it is equal. I mean, in which plane it is equal? In F2 plane, it is both are equal. Okay. Both are equal means what? 5 is no worse than 1, right? Are you getting? But in this plane, in F1 plane, 5 is better than 1, right? Okay. So 5 is dominating 1. 5 is dominating 1. Okay. What about 4 and 2? Does 4 is dominating 2? It is dominating, right? Because it is what is straight cut. It is 4 is towards the right and also it is towards the down, right? Okay. So so like this you have to practice more problems. Say this 3 and 5, can you say that 3 is dominating 5? I mean 5 is dominating 3? F1 maximize and F2 is minimize. Can you say 5 is dominating 3? No. Yeah, Akila, good. Could you justify your answer? Why? In which plane it fails? In F1 or F2? In which function it fails? With respect to F1, is 5 is better than 3 or not? Only if you see with respect to F1, is 5 is better than 3 or not? No, 5 is better than 3 with respect to F1. With respect to F2, is 5 is better than 3? No, F2 you want to minimize, right? There it fails. Are you getting? So, see, at least for one of the function, it should be better. And it may be equal for other functions. That is what the definition of domination is. Domination definition is what? For all the other function, it can be equal, but at least for one of the function, so this should be xi should be better than xj. Okay. In no function, xi can be worse than xj. But in this case, 3 is worse than. I mean, here 5 is worse than 3 in F2, because here F2 we want to minimize, right? Okay. So like this you can check for different values. So here you can see 1 dominates 2. Yeah, 1 dominates 2 because 1 is towards the right and towards the down of 2. 5 dominates 1. Okay, because they are in both they are in the same axis or same position with respect to F2, but it is towards the right with respect to F1, and F1 we want to maximize. Okay. So there are some properties of dominance relation that we'll be discussing now. So the domination relation, it satisfies 4 binary relation properties. The domination relation is not reflexive. That is any solution X does not dominate itself. Okay. So reflexive means it is applicable to itself. It is applicable to itself. So the domination relation is not reflexive. That is, you cannot say that x1 dominates x1 itself. No. Okay, x1 is equal to x1. Right. So you can say that x1 is no worse than x1, but you cannot say that x1 is dominating x1. Right. So the reflexing, it is not reflexive. Right. Condition 2 of definition 3 does not allow the reflexive property to be satisfied. Okay, condition 2, we discussed 2 condition. No, the second condition, what it says, at least for one of the relation, it should be better than what you call xi should be better than xj. Okay, so you can simply you can say that for a particular function, for a particular solution xi, you cannot say that xi is dominating xi itself. Okay, so that way you cannot say. As you cannot say that way, it is not satisfying the reflexive condition. Okay, that's what it says. Symmetric. The dominance relation is not symmetric. Okay, symmetric. That is if it is something like this. If x is less than or equal to y, that does not mean that y is less than or equal to x. Right? So you cannot interchange these variables. So two relations, say for example, there is an operator x op y. If it gives the same result as y operation x, okay, if both the results are same, say some what do you call, some k as the result, then you can say that this is symmetric. It is x operation y and y operation x is same, but this is not symmetric. That is, dominance relation are not symmetric. That is, x less than or equal to y does not imply y less than or equal to x. So that also does not means that domination relation is anti-symmetric. See, this is, so that does not, if x less than or equal to y is y is satisfied. See, symmetric relation says what is what why we say it is not symmetric, because x less than or equal to y does not mean that y less than or equal to x. Okay, that does not mean that they are anti-symmetric. They cannot be anti-symmetric either. Okay, right? So what does it mean in the sense if x less than or equal to y? That doesn't mean that uh, y is greater than or equal to x always. Okay, the domination relation is transitive. So this is where it holds true. The dominance relation is transitive. That is if you have a point x less than or equal to y, and if you have another point y less than or equal to z, then it means that x is less than or equal to z. That is true. Okay. So you have a point x which is less than or equal to y, and you have another point y which is less than or equal to z, then it means that x will be surely less than or equal to z. Okay. An interesting property that dominance relation possesses, if x does not dominate y, if x does not dominate y, that does not imply that y dominates x. Okay. So this we have discussed several times, I think. So if x is not dominating y, that does not imply that y is dominating x. No, both may be equal. Okay. In order for a binary relation to qualify as an ordering relation, it must be at least transitive. Hence, domination relation qualifies an ordering relation. Okay. So out of the properties, it satisfies only this property. That is, it is not reflexive, it is not symmetric. You cannot call it as antisymmetric, but it is transitive. A relation is called a partially ordered set if it is reflective, uh, if it is reflexive, antisymmetric, and transitive. Since the dominant relation is not reflexive, not antisymmetric, and it is not a partially ordered set. Okay, a relation is called as a partially ordered set if it satisfies these three conditions. What are the three conditions? It should be reflexive, it should be antisymmetric, and it should be transitive. Right? But dominance relation is not reflective, it is not antisymmetric, but it is only transitive. So you cannot call a dominance relation as a partially ordered set. It is not a partially ordered relation. Since the domination relation is not reflexive, it is a strict partial order. Okay, it is called a strict partial order. So these are some of the terminologies you just remember. So uh, so which of the property uh, which of the properties does dominance relation satisfies? Does it satisfy reflexive property? Is it reflexive or not? Does it satisfy the reflexive property? Yes or no? Following or not? Does the domination relation satisfy the reflexive property? What is reflexive? What is reflexive? What is reflexive? How will you define reflexive property? See, reflexive property means it should be applicable to itself. Okay, that is, the property should be applicable to itself. That is, when you say that xi is dominating something, but you cannot it is not applicable to itself. That is, you cannot say that xi is dominating xi itself. No. So as you cannot say like this, xi, as you cannot say like this, dominance relation is not reflexive. Okay. And what about symmetric? Does it satisfy symmetric property? So because of that, yeah. So does it mean that it is anti-symmetric always? No. So it is not satisfy reflexive, it is not reflexive, it is not symmetric, it is not anti-symmetric. What about transitive property? Does it, what is transitive property? If Yes, and then it means that, yeah. So if x is less than y and y is less than z, then it means x is less than or equal to z. Yeah, this is satisfied. So only transitive alone is satisfied. Okay. So a relation is a partial ordered set if it is reflexive, antisymmetric, and transitive. Out of these three things, uh, out of these three things, uh, dominance relation satisfies which condition? It satisfies only transitive. So it cannot be called as a partially ordered set. It is not a partially ordered set or a relation. Okay. And also it is not reflexive. If something is not reflexive, it is called as a strict partial order. So dominance relation also comes under this category. It is strictly partial ordered. Right. So now here we'll be discussing again, we'll be coming on to Pareto optimality once again. So could you recall the definition of uh, Pareto optimal solution? What is a Pareto optimal solution? When will you say the solution has a Pareto optimal? Last class we have discussed. A Pareto optimal solution is a solution which cannot be further improved without degrading some other objective function. Okay. A Pareto optimal solution is a set of solution which cannot be further improved without degrading any one of the other objective function. Right. Such a solution is called as a Pareto optimal solution. Okay. So here you see we want to maximize f1 and we want to minimize f2. So it means the solution should be towards which direction? Which you say as a solution? No, only, why are you telling only with respect to x-axis? Say both. Maximize f1, minimize f2. So I mean towards which direction it should be? Towards right and towards right and, yeah, true. Hmm. Yeah. So it should be towards right and down. Such a solution is called as a solution. Okay. Now, now can you say that 5 is better than 4? Why? Yeah, true. Can you say 5 is better than 1? Why? Why? Yeah, in terms of x, it is towards right. In terms of y axis, it is in the same line, right? Okay. What about 3 and 4? Is 3 is better than 4? What about 3 and 1? Is 3 is better than 1? What about 4 and 2? Is 4 is better than 2? What about 4 and what about 2 and 3? Is 3 is better than 2? Yes. 5 and 2? Is 5 is better than 2? Okay, fine, good. Now you come to, yeah, yeah, I'm coming to that. So you answer this. What about 5 and 3? Could you say 5 is better than 3? Hmm. So, so why are you saying don't know? So does it mean that 5 is worse than 3? Hmm. Yeah, so it's either way, right? So yeah, so this is when you consider these two solutions, this is a Pareto optimal front. When you consider these two solutions, this is a Pareto optimal front. Now tell what is the definition of Pareto optimality. The solution. Yeah. Okay. So let us take 5 is consider only these two solutions. Ignore these things. Consider only these two things, two solutions. Say 5 is one solution, 3 is another solution. Now can I improve 5? I can make it 3. So Of course, this is improvement with respect to which function? But it is a degrading with respect to which function? Okay, so these two are what? These two are what solution? These two are Pareto optimal solution. So this line is called as Pareto optimal front. Okay. Yeah, see, everything is a solution. In GA, every point is a solution. But only thing is, solution you give some score. Some solution, what is the score? Its score is maybe 10%. It means it gives only 10% result. 10% accuracy. Some solution may be 80%. So we want to identify a better solution. Repeating. All these are solutions. So we want to identify solution which is an optimal solution, which is comparatively better. That is what our whole task is. Okay. Right. So this is an Pareto optimal front. Similarly, if you see this line, what about 1 and 4? Could you say 4 is better than 1 or 1 is better than 4? So uh, yeah. So this is also what? So yeah, with respect to now ignore all these things, only consider this one. Then 4 and 1 are Pareto optimal solution. That is, all these solutions are of equal importance. Pareto optimal solution means whatever the solution that lies on this Pareto optimal front, they are of equal importance. You cannot say that one is better than other. So here we cannot say one is better than 4 or 4 is better than 1. No, they are of equal. So you can improve this solution 1 by moving to 4. So that is an improvement in terms of F1, but that is a degradement with respect to F2. Okay. Similarly, this is also a Pareto optimal front, but in this Pareto optimal front, there is only one solution is lying. Right? So this is about Pareto optimality. Yes, one more thing. So the set of solution that is lying on the Pareto optimal front is called as non-dominating solution. Okay. Previously we discussed about dominance, right? When you say that 5 is dominating 4, like that we said. But here you cannot say that 5 is dominating 3. So the set of solutions that is lying on a Pareto optimal front are called as non-dominating solutions. Or this line, instead of Pareto optimal front, it can also be called as non-dominated front. Okay. So 3 is not dominating 5 and 5 is also not dominating 3. Similarly, 1 is not dominating 4 and 4 is also not dominating 1. So that's what it's explained here. Consider solution 3 and 5. 5 is better than 3 with respect to F1, right? 5 is better than 3 with respect to F1 because we are maximizing, right? While 5 is worse than 3 with respect to F2 because F2 should be minimized. Okay. So thus condition 1 is not satisfied for both of these cases. Hence we cannot conclude that 5 dominates 3 or 3 dominates 5. In other ways we cannot say that two solutions 3 and 5 are which is better. Okay. Right. So it's the same that whatever we have discussed there, it's the same this thing only. So here you can say this is one Pareto optimal front, this is one Pareto optimal front, this is one Pareto optimal front. The solution lying on this Pareto optimal front are called as non-dominating solution. So from the above figure it is evident that there are set of solutions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All these are solution. Okay. 1 dominates 2 and 5 dominates 1. That you know. 1 is dominating 2, 5 is dominating 1 because this is towards right and this is towards down. Neither 3 dominates 5 or 5 dominates 3. So they are called as non-dominated solutions. Okay. Similarly, 1 and 4 are not dominating each other. So they are also called as non-dominating solutions. Okay. So in this example, there is not a single solution which dominates all other solutions. So here you cannot say that is there a solution here which dominates every other solution? Is the question is clear? There is, could you identify, so all these are solutions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could you identify one solution which is dominating all others in this, out of this set? Pardon? Yes? No, 3 is dominating, 5 is dominating which one? You tell me. Is it dominating 2? Yeah. What about 3? Not 3. Okay. So the question is, can you identify one solution which dominates everybody? No, there is no such solution. Okay. So if there is no such solution, so see, when there is a Pareto optimal front, there will not be a such solution. At least for the, so this 5 is no 5 is not dominating because of 3, because both 5 and 3 are in the not dominating set. So here there is we don't have a single solution which dominates everybody else. See this case. Here is there is a solution which dominates everything else. Which one? The green dot. This dot, this one dominates everything else because it is towards the right and also towards the down. Okay. So here also you have the Pareto optimal front, but Pareto optimal front is not with the better solution. Are you getting? Say for example, I have one point here, one point here. Okay. Say this is 6 and this is 7. Now can you say that any solution is dominating anybody else? No, because now these two are in the Pareto optimal front. Yeah, so they are not dominating either one, right? So what is a non-dominated set? That's what we are going to define. Among a set of solutions, among a set of solutions P, so P represents a set of solutions, the non-dominated set of solutions P dash, okay, so P is the set of solutions, all solutions are P, okay, P dash represents the set of non-dominated solutions or those which are not dominated by any member of the set P, okay, which are not dominated by any member of the set P. So such solutions are called as non-dominated set. Okay. Uh, so so here, for example, in this previous example, what we have taken. So P is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is set of solutions. All solutions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is one non-dominated set. 3, comma 5. 3, comma 5 is, so P dash is 3, comma 5. That is, if you compare 3 and 5, both of them are not dominating each other. So you can call it as P1 dash. Can you tell some other set like this? What would be P2 dash? Is there any other non-dominating set? This is one set, right? One non-dominated set. Is there any other such non-dominating set? 1 and 4 is also a non-dominating set. Okay. Is there any other non-dominating set? This also you can consider, even though this set contains only one element. Are you getting? Yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. Okay. So, yeah, that is true. So, we can ignore this, but just for understanding. So basically, whatever the elements that are lying in the non-Pareto front. Okay, so this is a non-Pareto front. This is a non-Pareto front. The set of elements lying in a particular non-Pareto front will be coming under a non-dominated set. Okay. So how will you find a non-dominated set? Okay, let us discuss with an example. So it's the same example. So here, what are the non-dominated, what are the non-dominating friend we have? One is 3 comma 5, the other one is 1 comma 4, right? Okay, let us ignore the things with single solution, because if you consider single solution, then every individual single solution also you have to consider as non-dominating set. Okay, so this is with respect to this kind of solution. Okay, which is something like a what you call it, the real life. You will have the solutions or the plot something like this. But you see this ideal case. This right side plot is an ideal case. Okay, that is you won't get a plot like this, but this is an ideal case. Okay, now from this ideal case, could you tell, is there any non-dominating set? Here f1 we want to minimize, f2 we want to, both f1 and f2 we want to minimize, right? F1 also we want to minimize, f2 also we want to minimize. So the solution should be towards which direction? Why right? Why right? Both you want to minimize. Hmm. Why are you saying minimize means towards left, right? So let us assume our numbering are like this: 0, 1, 2. This is 0, 1, 2. Okay. So down left. Okay. Right. So the solution should be more towards left and more towards down. Okay. So now the question is, from this plot, could you identify the set of non-dominating solutions? What is a non-dominating solution? To identify the non-dominating solution, what you have to identify first? Pareto optimal friend you have to identify. So what is there any Pareto optimal friend here? Okay. Actually, there is no non-dominating set for here. So this non-dominating set, all these things, it is applicable only for a plot like this. It is not applicable for an ideal solution. This is an ideal solution. Here, straight cut, you can say that this is the solution, because this is the one towards left. I mean, this is f1 minimum and f2 is minimum. Okay, and further, what is the definition of Pareto optimal solution? The set of solutions uh, which cannot be further improved without degrading some other objective. Okay, for example, here if you see, this is one solution. Let us assume this is one solution. Solution 1. This is another solution. Our objective is to move towards left and come down. Can this solution be improved further? Can you can improve from S2 to S1, right? It is an improvement. But does it, so it is improving with respect to which function, F1 or F2? Is the question is clear? When I move from S2 to S1, is it improving with respect to which function, F1 or F2? F1. Okay. But does it degrading F2? It's not degrading F2. So can you call this as Pareto optimal solution? Solutions as? No, no. Definition is what? It should degrade, right? That is what I am asking. What's the definition? Definition is a solution is said to be Pareto optimal if the solution uh, no, recall the definition. Definition is a solution is said to be Pareto optimal if it cannot be further improved without degrading another objective function. So here, does it degrading any objective function when you move from S2 to S1? It is improving F1, but it is not degrading F2. So you cannot call this as Pareto optimal front. So this is not a Pareto optimal front. That's the point. Similarly, if you take this point, say this point is S3. When you move from S3 to S1, there is an improvement in which function? F2. But is there any degradement in F1? No. So this is also not a Pareto optimal front. So the point is this Pareto optimal front and this what do you call this set of solutions which are not dominating each other, all these things applicable. It is not applicable for an ideal situation. It is applicable only for non-ideal situation. Okay. So whereas in this case, if you see, if you move from 5 to 3, it means we are improving on F2 because F2 is minimizing, but at the same time we are degrading F1. Right. The Pareto optimal front. Okay. So that's what it says, like for a given finite set of solution, we can perform all pairwise comparison, find which solution dominates, find which solutions are not dominated with respect to each other. The property of a solution is in non-dominated set is given like this. For all xi, xi belongs to p dash. So p dash represents the set of solution which is not dominating each other. Okay, such that xi is not less than or equal to xj and xj is not less than or equal to xi. That is at least that is for all. There are many functions, right? More than one functions. For all functions, you cannot say that xi is less than or equal to xj. No, at least for some function, it will be otherwise. Similarly, for all functions, you cannot say that xj is less than or equal to xi. Okay, in that case, we'll say that they are dominating. They are not dominating each other. But this is applicable. This is applicable only for an a non-ideal situation. It is not applicable for ideal situation. The non-dominant set concept is applicable when there is a trade-off in solution. Okay, so trade-off means it's not an ideal case. That is, when you improve one thing, the other thing will come down. That is called as trade-off. Okay. So here is an example, right? See, assume that you want to maximize F2 and minimize F1. Okay, maximize F2. Sorry, maximize F2 and maximize F1. Both we want to maximize. Then, so if you say assume the function is something like this. The function is represented as a circle. So maximize F1 means the best point for F1 you will get here. Okay, you will get here. Maximize F2 means the best point for F2 you will get here. Okay, right? So the point connecting these two, that is nothing but the Pareto optimal front. You getting? Okay, so this is Pareto optimal front, and the set of solutions that is lying in this point, they will be not dominating each other. They will be not dominating each other. Okay. If both the functions are to minimize, then where will be Pareto optimal front? If we want to minimize both of these functions, say f1 also you want to minimize, f2 also you want to minimize, then where will be Pareto optimal front? This is actually, we are maximizing f1 and maximizing f2, so Pareto optimal front is here. If you want to minimize both, then where will be Pareto optimal front? Is the question is clear? See, if you want to minimize f1, then it will be the best point will be here, right? This is the minimum of f1. Okay. If you want to minimize f2, where will be the best point? Down. Okay, somewhere here. So where will be the Pareto optimal front? So what will be the Pareto optimal front? Yeah, this will be the Pareto optimal front. If you maximize F1 and minimize F2, then what will be the Pareto optimal front? Hmm. Hmm. That is both maximizing. Right side down. Yeah, this. Okay, good. If you want to minimize F1 and maximize F2, left up. Okay. So like this you can identify, right? Say if the function is like this, right? Now here you want to minimize F1 and minimize F2. So this is the Pareto optimal front. Okay. Because F1 minimum point is this. F2 minimum point is this. So this point is the Pareto optimal. This line is the Pareto optimal front. Okay. If you want to maximize both, then what will be Pareto optimal front here? Maximize. So this one will be the Pareto optimal front, right? If you want to maximize F1 and minimize F2, then what will right side down? This one, okay. If you want to minimize F1 and minimize F2, yeah, that is here already given. Okay, okay. Minimize minimize F1, maximize F2. Yeah, this one. Okay. So like this, depending on the shape, you can identify the Pareto optimal front. Okay. Okay, see straight line, whenever there is a straight line, that is what we discussed in ideal case. Here you see this straight line will never be a Pareto optimal front. Are you getting? Because it won't degrade. It may improve one function, but it will not degrade the other function. Are you getting? So the definition of Pareto optimal front, what it says, it may improve on one objective function, but it will surely degrade the other objective function. Okay? So wherever that straight line things comes, it should be ignored. Okay. So whatever we have discussed there, that is what's shown here. So how the Pareto optimal front varies with respect to different, like minimizing and maximizing different functions. Okay. Similarly, with different shapes also you can try. Say this, if the solution is like this, for this function, where is the Pareto optimal front? Is there any Pareto optimal front for this solution or not? For the first one. There is no Pareto optimal solution. There is, you can say this as the ideal solution. Or in this case, we want to minimize F1 and maximize F2. So what is the ideal point here? Minimize F1, maximize F2. Left. This is the ideal point. There is no Pareto optimal front here. Okay. Assume this is F1 minimize and F2 also minimize. Okay. Here, assume the function is like this. It is a straight line, but it's a slanting line. It's not a perfect straight line. So here, what is the Pareto optimal front? But Pareto optimal front is a line. So how will you specify the line? This entire line is a Pareto optimal front. Are you getting? F1 minimum point is this. Okay, F2 minimum point is this. But any solution lying on this line, you can say that this solution is better than this in terms of F2 because it is coming down, but it is degrading F1. because it is going towards right. Is that clear? So this entire line is a Pareto optimal front. Assume the solution space is like this. Solution space is in this shape. F1 we want to minimize, F2 also we want to minimize. So here what is the Pareto optimal front? Which curve? Inner, yeah, so the inner curve. This is the Pareto optimal front. Okay. Consider this one. F1 you want to minimize, F2 you want to minimize. So where is there any Pareto optimal curve for this? F1 minimize is this point, right? F2 minimize is, okay. So is there any Pareto optimal? That's all. These 2 points. That's all. Okay. There is no line. You cannot say that this line is not a Pareto optimal solution. So we should ignore this. Okay. But these two are Pareto optimal solution, because when compared these two solution, if this is solution 1, this is solution 2, when you move from here to here, there is an improvement. With respect to which one there is an improvement? With respect to F2 there is an improvement, but it is degraded with respect to F1. Okay. Similarly, when you move from here to here, there is an improvement with respect to F1, but with respect to F2 it is degraded. This is F1 max. F1 we want to maximize, so that is this point. F2 also we want to maximize. So what is the Pareto optimal front here? Yeah, these two are the Pareto optimal front. Okay, but not this line. So here we want to minimize F1 and minimize F2. Outer curve. Okay. So this outer, not outer curve, I guess. Minimize F1 is what point? Minimize F1 somewhere here, right? Minimize F2 is whatever here. Okay. So it is this part of the curve. This is the Pareto optimal front, right? So like this, for different curves or whatever, the depending on the shape of the objective function, you can identify the Pareto optimal front. Fine. So that's it about this dominance relation. So let us stop here. Thank you.